wondering if the Raptor turns heads, I assure you it does. Of dudes, never women. You tell me, is it Recaro's, the updated suspension there, the bigger tires, the different wheels, is it all worth that much more of a premium? Although they cost a ton of money, one major like that I have of the Raptor platform in general is their residual values have proven itself to be phenomenal. We're gonna put this truck through the paces here at McDonald's. Let's see how it handles. I don't know, life's too short to drive boring cars and boring trucks, and for me, the Raptor here scratches the itch. Hey YouTube, Untamed here. Behind me is my 2025 Ford F-150 Raptor 37 Performance Package. If you've been following my channel for any length of time, you know that I actually used to own a 2023 quote-unquote 35 package Ford F-150 Raptor. It was avalanche gray. I love that truck. I absolutely have fallen in love with this platform, hence is why I'm back to it in the 37 here. In this video, I'm gonna highlight the many differences that I personally experienced through my ownership between the 35 and the 37 here, highlight those differences for you guys beyond the spec sheet. What does it really feel like owning the two different trucks there, and which one I truly like better? I'm also gonna highlight my likes, dislikes, and really explain to you why I ultimately jumped back to the Raptor. So stick with me as we talk through it all. Forgive me guys, normally I'm a lot better at doing uploads and more timely uploads. I've owned this for now a few weeks in the 37 Performance Package here. It's not my first one. I've actually owned it was a 2021 F-150 Raptor in code orange 37 Performance Package back in the day. Absolutely loved that truck. And at that time, buying one without a $10,000 or $15,000 markup on top of the MSRP was dang near impossible. It's sickening to even say that out loud. So many dealerships, unfortunately, were just licking their chops, being very greedy with this platform. Back then, I had an opportunity to sell it, and I have missed it ever since, the 37 Performance Package. If you have frequented my channel for any length of time, you also know when I bought my 35 package, the avalanche gray one, you know that I actually went down to the dealership with intentions of buying a 37 package. That is what I thought I had negotiated the deal on, and it ended up being a little bit of a bait and switch, unfortunately, but I ended up getting $7,500 off of it at the time, so I still bought it, okay? But I missed the 37, and let me explain why. As you can tell just by looking at the truck, I've already done a few modifications to it. I'm gonna highlight those as we talk through it. And for those of you who don't know, in 2024, they did a little bit of an update, a minor refresh to the headlights on the F-150 Raptor. Before, it was kind of a little bit more of a simplistic headlamp. You know, this one here has a little bit more design, a little more definition to it, a little more curvature. So to some, this is an improvement. And well, personally, I actually kind of preferred the previous iteration of this in 2023, like what I had on my avalanche gray one. But overall, of course, it looks stunning, no complaints, but I actually do prefer the previous one. On the 37 Performance Package, you do get a updated or a little bit more of a redesigned modular front bumper, which I would still maybe argue is better on the 35 package because this is a lot of gray, a lot of silver implemented here. This is the difference here, okay? Obviously, with it being a Raptor, this is an entire bash plate or skid plate down beneath it, which is awesome, of course. Your tow hooks up front, but a little bit more clearance on the corners of the bumper anyway. Just like both packages, you do get some rigid industry fog lamps. So nothing new there. And very big difference between the 35 and 37, of course, is the tire size. But the wheels on the 37 here, I think, look a ton better compared to what you would find on the 35. The 37-inch tires, man, they just completely fill up the ginormous wheel wells here, which I think looks incredible. One thing to note, well, if you bought an F-150 before, you know it's quite silly, but they actually don't come with a wheel well liner out back. So here, I had already installed the Husky wheel well liners. A very easy install, but pretty ridiculous that you even have to do it from the get-go, huh? The thing a lot of people don't realize is this is a dual valve upgraded suspension on the 37 Performance Package here. It is tuned to have 37-inch tires. It's not just, hey, let's slap on 37-inch tires and call it good. This truck is tuned to have these ginormous tires. There's a lot more unsprung mass being added with these tires comparatively to the 35s. These weigh a lot more. So it needs to be tuned accordingly. Now you get the dual valve, whereas on the 35, there's just one of these guys sticking out. And if you watch my totally out of order video, my previous video where I actually removed the decals off my Raptor here, those are unique to the 37 Performance Package. You had those decals that kind of extended out back here. It said Raptor across the back here, as well as it had some striped decals on the hood, 2 of them going down each side of the hood. So I got rid of that because I just feel like this is a much cleaner look, and you're already driving a very aggressive looking truck with huge wide fender flares. Why do you need a sticker screaming what it is? I did forget to mention the 37 performance package with the 37-inch tires does increase your ground clearance by just 1 inch, 1.1 inch. So bringing it up to 13.1 inches of ground clearance comparatively to 12 inches on the 35. I remember just for a minute there during the pandemic, a lot of these were coming without this back applique, if you will, this whole back piece, plastic piece that says Ford across it. And so many of these were showing up without that as a spec option because there was a lot of holdups. I love the design cues of the Raptor here. And one thing with the F-150s in general, which I've really grown to appreciate, is, I know it's small, but this little dip down in the driver's side and passenger windows here, adding to your visibility in a very sleek, streamlined side view mirror here that doesn't obstruct your visibility when looking out. So I love the design cues overall. It's just an aggressive looking truck. Functional hood venting, of course, and side fender venting. I just love this platform. It just looks incredible. And I would argue, and this is where I might get a few of you upset, I think this just looks so much better than the Ram TRX. I know those are fighting words, but I truly believe that. You tell me what you think. I do find it quite funny that we still get this very normal, regular antenna sticking out of this thing. It's kind of funny. And although I do prefer the color Avalanche Gray over Oxford White here, I do think this is timeless, right? Oxford White has been a color option on the Raptor really since day one, right? This is a very fitting look. I love the whole Stormtrooper look, of course, we got going on now. The black on white accents here. Window tint, of course, we went 15% all around, so making the back windows a little bit darker, of course, comparatively to the front ones, but I think it just adds to the look. Ceramic window tint, absolutely love it. SmartCap out back. So this here, let me explain. I did not intend to buy this as quickly as I did for the Raptor. I've always eyeballed these. I have a coworker who bought one for his Chevy Colorado ZR2 Bison. He absolutely loves it. I bought it because literally the same day that I bought the Raptor, I saw an ad be posted on Facebook Marketplace for one of these. He ended up coming down to $3,000 for it. Obviously lightly used, some minor dings on it here and there, super minor scuffs. But overall, instead of spending about $5,000 for it brand new, I went and spent $3,000. So I just couldn't pass it up, and it was in my local area. And for those of you unfamiliar, let me show you just how easy it is to use. You just bop that bopper there, bop this bopper there, and then pull up. And obviously it's controlled with the struts on the side. Absolutely love the utility of it, the functionality of it. Normally I don't buy these because it takes away from the bed space, right? You can't just throw a dirt bike up here or a quad with ease anymore. But I absolutely love the look, and there's obviously some level of added functionality in having a covered bed too. So it kind of goes both ways. Let me show you the sides here. Pop, pop. And how about that? I mean, a ton of space to get into it. The access space is just enormous in it. And again, just how easy it is to pop open and close. Oh, I think it's super cool. Let's pop it down here. Such a rugged, very durable SmartCap here, bed cover. And honestly, one thing that I could do without is this one does have that electronic open and close to the tailgate. When I bought the SmartCap, the gentleman who sold it to me, he actually threw in this little bed rug, which is pretty nice. I just Velcroed the back end of it to the tailgate, so it actually moves with the tailgate, of course. But this here is actually pretty nice. If you're going to be putting stuff back here, it won't slide around as much. Thankfully, and I'll show you here in a minute, the window sticker to the truck, but this one did come spec'd with the spray-in bed liner. I hate it when you spend $85,000, $90,000 plus on a truck and you don't even get a bed liner in it. It's pretty weird, huh? And here's that electronic tailgate in action. Kind of pop it up, and it just kind of goes up by itself. So I could do without that. And super easy to close. So in addition to the wheel well liners, I added these Rock Blocks mud flaps. These are the long versions of it. You can get the regular length and long versions. I opted for the long versions, more specifically for the front. I feel like that's where you're, of course, going to be throwing more rocks that would be hitting the side of your vehicle. So we went the long version. Super easy to install, really, and I mean it when I say this. The whole entire install took me less than an hour for all 4 of these mud flaps. So Rock Block mud flaps, no sponsorship, no promotion, blah, blah, blah. I just have bought these a few times. I've been very, very happy with them. Same goes for the Husky wheel well liners. I do have an affiliation link with Real Truck. You can buy I think nearly everything that I have on the truck so far from Real Truck. So if you want to get a very good deal and best shipping, use my affiliate link in the video description if you'd like. Before jumping into the interior, just a real quick recap of the differences. You get the 37-inch tires, they're BF Goodrich KO2s, 37, 12.5 on 17-inch wheels here, of course. Upgraded wheels for the 37 Performance package. The quote-unquote upgraded modular front bumper here, although I don't think it looks as good with all the silver. It is an upgrade over what the 35 has. A little bit more ground clearance, of course, mainly thanks to the tires, 13.1 inches, and the suspension is a dual valve, live valve suspension system upgraded over the 35, making it a lot more comfortable. A lot better to drive off-road by comparison to my experience. Perhaps one of the biggest differences between the two packages is you get some Recaro seats in the 37 here. I absolutely love the look of them. They feel great, but I would still say, having owned the 35 with the leather seats and the non-Recaros actually feel a little bit better, a little bit more comfortable, I should say. Obviously, these ones here have a little bit more side bolstering and leg side bolstering, so it's going to hold you a little bit better as you're off-roading it. But when it comes to daily driving anyway, I do actually prefer the 35. Now you can get both packages spec'd with the carbon fiber trim package here. I absolutely love this, and I think this is a necessity. If you're gonna get the Raptor, get the carbon fiber package. It just looks incredible. I love all the quote-unquote Easter eggs, if you want to call it that, but a lot of American flags proudly representing an American brand, Ford here. We got that code orange stitching all throughout. Hopefully you can see it actually. I'm sorry, I'm not showing it too well. Code orange stitching all throughout it, even up onto the seats here, onto the center console. And we'll talk more about this. Not a fan of this, but it moves up into the shifter. I think it just looks incredible. And I love the fact that with the F-150 here, it doesn't have a protruding infotainment. You know, it pops up here blocking your visibility. I'm so tired of vehicle manufacturers doing that. So this is, I think, very well integrated. Obviously, we'll fire it up here. Obviously, we have a full digital gauge display and a very large infotainment over here that is extremely responsive. So very pleased with this. It does have wireless Apple CarPlay and Android Auto too. Very nice features within it. I'm kind of indifferent. I'm a little old school when it comes to your gauge display. I actually kind of prefer, I won't say I do prefer analog gauges within my vehicles, and I always have, and I think I always will. Call me old school all you want, but overall, outside of the full digital gauge display here, I love the infotainment. This I can get on board with, and I still appreciate the fact that they didn't implement too many piano glass black touches in here. Really, there's hardly any, right? There's hardly any within the entire interior, and that's on purpose, obviously, right? I mean, anytime you touch that, you're gonna get fingerprints all over it, dust all over it. This here, I think the buttons that they still have left remaining are very utilitarian. They're very functional for what you would ever want to use an actual knob or button for, right? Your volume control, your heating, cooled seats, your AC controls, blah, 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 right? And I should have pointed out as I did it, but of course, a push to start, foot on the brake, push to start right there. Your four-wheel drive controls down here. And this here has always been a huge gripe of mine. I feel like this is such an incredible truck. MSRP is over $95,000, and yet we have this clunky Tonka truck shifter here. It just feels so clunky, so plasticky, right? Check this out. Let me pop it down real quick. There's a little button. There you go. Like just even it going down, it's just like such a audible sound to the gear there. But by doing that, you can now push a button on the back of the center arm console armrest there, and it turns into a little bit of a table. So you can eat a sandwich here or whatever you're gonna do right here, okay? Don't get any ideas, you rascals, okay? And then we have a couple of cup holders out back right there, in addition to the primary ones right here, which being about that dad life, I really appreciate that kind of stuff. And obviously you have them in your doors over there. So you can never have too many cup holders, in my opinion, as a dad. And this right here, well, let me show you. I love that this is a perfect, I know this is silly, guys, I get it. I'm not a doofus here, but I love that it is a perfect little holder for most phones, right? And this is with an OtterBox case on it, a bulky case, and it still fits perfectly in there. Absolutely love stuff like that. Down here in your little cubby space, which you can hide for the record, you pop that forward, and well, more of that carbon fiber is unveiled, and I absolutely love it. It's a legitimate carbon fiber. If you guys seen like the Ford F-150, the Shelby Raptor, all the Shelby Raptors have that fake faux plastic carbon fiber, which drives me insane. If you don't know what I'm talking about, check it out. It is sickening to look at. Whereas this, with real weaves of carbon in it, this is real carbon fiber, which I appreciate that kind of stuff, right? This is obviously your wireless charging tray here. And then of course you got some of your charging ports, USB, USB-C charging ports down below. Standard glove box, it is larger on the F-150s here, but you also have your top little popper there hidden behind the carbon fiber. So stuff that many of you have already seen, and I'm not giving you a full detailed rundown of it, but you're getting kind of the gist of what the interior is. A lot of plastic, hard plastic in here. I won't sugarcoat it, guys. It still is a Ford mass-produced product at the end of the day. So you do get a lot of plastic in here. I won't sugarcoat it. A lot going on the steering wheel nowadays, right? You got a ton of buttons on it, but it is easy to navigate. It's pretty intuitive, so no complaints. Raptor spelled out down below on the steering wheel. One thing I didn't actually realize had happened until I bought this one is this used to be red. This little center marker here, leather piece there, used to be red, so they got rid of that. Not really sure. Hopefully you can see in the camera, but we do have a head-up display that will show you your miles per hour, the temperature outside, and the time. Currently is how it's set up. It does have a Bang & Olufsen sound system. Here's your tweeters with your metal finish to them. I think those look great. Here's a better show right there. It sounds absolutely incredible. Let's pop to the back. I'll show you what's going on back there. Same materials for the door. I actually kind of like this. I don't even know what it is. It's kind of a rubberized plastic, more plastic than rubber, for being honest. But I do like it, and I think it'll age well. I don't think it's going to fade or anything. Nice material, of course. Continued carbon fiber. Well, this is not a shameless represent. We got some kid carnage already starting out here. Booster seat, center armrest with cup holders in it for the kiddos. Out back, Raptor in the leather seats. We do have the pano roof spec'd on this particular one. It is an option that you could do without, of course. One thing that I've always appreciated about F-150s in general, not just a Raptor, is the flat floor. This doesn't have that center hump right there, taking away leg space, making it difficult to load things in it. So you can go to Lowe's, go to Home Depot, throw something back here quite easily because it is a tremendous amount of space. Well, magazine holders out back, newspaper holders. That stitching carries on to the back, the code orange stitching there. Heated seats out back. Hopefully you can see it okay with your charging ports all around it. Let me show you what we got. USB-Cs, then your standard plug right there. Kind of nice. And your AC vents, heater vents right there. So I think that about wraps it up for the back end there. Our center rear sliding window, blah, blah, blah. Things that many of you have already seen before. For fun, let me show you the heart of the beast here. Purposely didn't show you me finagling and riding the struggle bus while trying to pop the hood here with one hand. You should have seen me with my first bra. My dad said, "What are you doing? Take that thing off." Anyways, here is the 3.5 liter EcoBoost, high output EcoBoost motor here. Absolutely love this thing. And really at this point, it is tried, true, and tested. I normally don't love turbocharged V6s. I never have. You know, I don't like turbo lag, but it is very minimal in this particular platform here. But this here has been tested for many, many years, and I think Ford has gotten it dialed in quite nicely. I'd even stack it up when it comes to reliability, much better peace of mind comparatively to the 6.2 liter supercharged V8 that you're going to find in the Ram TRX. This here will give you some peace of mind. Obviously, the performance levels are very different between this and the TRX. We have the Raptor R that has the 5.2 liter supercharged V8. But even that one is still coming with a little bit of a premium. They come with $10,000 to $20,000 markup still, even today in July 2025. The Raptor R's costing $125,000 plus. So this here, I was able to buy it at invoice. And I gotta admit, within 48 hours of having my Raptor in the driveway, both of the gentlemen who live next door to me, this neighbor here and this one over here, were quick to comment on the fact that it doesn't sound like it has a V8 underneath the hood. Does it have a V6 underneath the hood? So can't say I fault them for it. And I mean it when I say this though, although it is a twin turbo V6 EcoBoost motor, I've never felt like it was lacking power at any point. I feel like the acceleration that you have in this, the power delivery, the turbo lag is minimal. The 450 horsepower, 510 torque out of this, I think is phenomenal. And I think it scratches the itch, really, for 9 out of 10 people. I'd be scared to drive the Raptor R because I know that I would be addicted to that thing immediately. What does it have? 720 horsepower and 640 torque? Right around there. I might be off by a little bit, but a tremendous amount more horsepower and torque. But this here, it'll do until. Let's take a quick look at the window sticker here. So obviously, well, I lied. I think it said over $95,000. This is $94,560 for this particular 37 performance package here. Obviously, the bulk of that upcharge is coming from this right here, the Equipment Group Series 802A. The 802A package adds about $11,500 to the overall price tag over a standard Raptor. And of course, it includes that 17-inch cast aluminum beadlock capable wheels, which I love. I think that's a necessity. And of course, right below you see the dual valve shocks that we get on the 37 particular, okay? The twin panel moonroof does cost you $1,500. Hope you can see it okay there. $1,500 for that twin panel moonroof. And then that spray-in bed liner is just under $600. The base price is $79,000, just over it. And the additional options and delivery, I think additional options bring up $13,500, but that additional destination delivery fee of $2,000 is what really adds it up to that just under $95,000 price tag. The only difference I think I would have done is I would have got space white. I like space white a little bit better, a little bit more of that, closer to avalanche gray, but not quite as dark. That's the only difference. I got this one because this is the only one at the particular dealership that I was able to land the great deal at. I do want to use this as an opportunity to give a quick shout out to my friend Dustin down at Freeway Ford, south of Denver. Freeway Ford, Dustin, I've worked with him a couple times before. Yeah, he's been phenomenal to work with. He's not pushy whatsoever. If you let him know I sent you, I bet he'll take good care of you. I did end up paying invoice here for the Raptor 37. And I want to make it clear, getting this truck for invoice or right at invoice has become much more doable. I want to make that very clear here. Same goes for the 35 package, getting a few $1,000s off that price tag, which they come in right around the $82,000, $83,000 mark nowadays in 2025. You can easily get a few grand off of that. And getting, what is it, about $6,000 or more off of this one here is very doable too. But if you want to make it easy, I would just reach out to Dustin and see what he could do for you. Unfortunately, they don't get too many of these allocated to their dealership because like me and like a lot of people, it's really hard to justify the $11,500 upcharge between the 37 and that 35, right? I mean, that's a large amount of money. It's a huge amount of money. Really, on the surface value, for not that many changes to an already amazing vehicle. So you tell me, would you rather spend $83,000, pretend you're paying MSRP right now, 83 grand for a standard 35 package Raptor? Or would you rather buck up and spend the $94,500 here for the 37? You tell me, is it Recaro's, the updated suspension there, the bigger tires, the different wheels, is it all worth that much more of a premium? I think I've done enough meowing all around the vehicle and inside of it. Let me get behind the wheel and show you what it's like to drive the Ford Raptor 37 performance package here. And while I'm driving it, I'll talk through my top 3 likes and my top 3 dislikes, and I'll try to be critical of it, even though I own it. And foot on the brake, push to start. Let's drive the Raptor here. Let's go ahead and watch this thing Frankenstein back to life. Check this out. It's just so clunky. It really is. If you bought one of these, if you driven one, you know exactly what I'm talking about. I'm not being dramatic with this thing, okay? Most importantly, perhaps, I should have started with this. This button right here and these ones here, you can adjust your steering, your suspension feel, your exhaust, but for the sake of this video, we're gonna pop this into Baja mode. So you got sport, normal, quiet, good neighbor mode, of course. Now we're in Baja. Let me show you what it sounds like from the outside as I rev it. And I will tell you, right out of the gate, the suspension just absorbs everything, and you feel the upgrade to it in the 37 compared to the 35. You know, it just soaks up everything. Everything feels like you're riding on a cloud. And when you drive the 35, you will never be disappointed with the feel of it, of course, right? It's not until you drive them back to back where you realize, wow, there actually is a pretty stark difference between them. And honestly, the only potential issue that you're going to bump into daily driving the Raptor is, well, maybe two. The biggest one perhaps is the width of the vehicle, of course. It's a very wide vehicle. That's why we have those marker lights up front. It's a DOT, Department of Transportation standard requirement, given the width of the vehicle. It exceeds a certain limit. But I think it adds to the look. It makes it look incredible. That's one thing that's always been kind of unique to the Raptors, right? Obviously with trucks like this one here too, Super Duties, the larger vehicles that are very wide get them too. But parking this thing, because it is extremely wide, will prove to be a little bit of a headache if you're constantly trying to cram into tight parking spaces or filled parking lots, right? Let's hop on the freeway. I'll let you hear it scream a little bit. I'm gonna roll down the windows, give him some space. I'll crack the window anyway. All right, we're warmed up for the record. Up the window. By golly. I mean, even for a V6 at the end of the day, and the trombone exhaust that they put on this Raptor here, I think just sounds incredible. And one thing that I have noticed between this and the 35 is, and maybe it's in my head perhaps, I actually haven't dug into the forums or did too much homework on it, but you do feel as though it is less snappy, right? It's a little less acceleration to it. The 35 felt quicker, so you do have that added sprung mass to the vehicle, to the wheels, with these huge tires on them that weigh substantially more by comparison to the 35-inch ones. You notice that. I noticed that. So you guys let me know if you've driven both of them. Is that a real thing? I can't help but feel like it is. One thing I hate about the Raptor is, but this one is, it does still have that auto start stop on it. That drives me insane. I always hit it. You get the turn off switch over here to the left that you can pop, but it's not until you come to a stop and it turns off on you do you actually remember or realize it again. So wish it didn't have the auto start stop, and I know there's ways to get around it. There's changes that you can do. I'm sure people have talked about that, but it would be nice if they just didn't install that from the get-go. Another truck that I benchmark often is the Toyota Tundra TRD Pro, particularly the 2021 model with the V8 in it, right? I love that truck. I've owned it a number of times. I always kind of gravitate back to it because it is a phenomenal vehicle. One thing that I always compare that truck to all other vehicles to is the excellent turning radius that you have on it. That Tundra can turn on a dime. It almost defies physics for how big and how heavy that vehicle is. You can just rip it and it will turn on a dime. The turn radius is far superior comparatively to the Ford Raptor here, especially the 37. Maybe the added heft to the tires, size to the tires kind of decreases that turn radius just slightly perhaps, but you definitely notice it, especially driving them back to back between each other. One thing that I will always prefer on the Tundra comparatively to the Raptor is I appreciate its subtleness. It's not totally in your face. It's not as quote-unquote douchebaggery by comparison. The Raptor unfortunately does carry that reputation, that stigma, and it kind of sucks. You know, if you pull up in a Raptor, there's a little bit of an assumption that you might be a D-bag, unfortunately. But when you drive up in a Tundra, man, people are like, wow, look at that wise, sensible gentleman there. If you're wondering if the Raptor turns heads, I assure you it does. Of dudes, never women. Ladies and gentlemen, I am a true automotive reviewer because I show you what's really important. We're gonna put this truck through the paces here at McDonald's. Let's see how it handles. All right, so far so good. Let's see if the Raptor naturally chooses the faster line. I think we did. And let me show you the real purpose of them adding the exhaust button. And so we can put it into quiet mode as we order our Big Mac. I'm really sorry, Ram TRX boys, but having a quiet mode, this is for the real gentleman.
How are you doing, my brother? May I take your order?
Hey, good morning. Could I please do nice and easy? We need to turn on those 360-degree cameras if we need to. I'm not trying to get too crazy. I'm sorry, I got a little nervous. I turned them on. I was starting to panic. You're right, that test wasn't good enough. We need to one-up it. We need a Ziggy's coffee drive-through. Let's give it a run.
How are you?
Hey, good morning. Good, and you?
Good service for you.
Could I please do a 32-ounce smashberry, sugar-free?
It's for you.
And we'll do a 16-ounce iced white mocha, please. Don't judge. I'm going through a phase. And another small dislike I have is all the additional driving nannies that you get in this new Raptor nowadays, right? We have like the lane keep assist right here, your adaptive cruise control. There's so many of these nannies that have been implemented within this. And that's a big part of the problem when it comes to pricing, right? We have all these additions to the technology, all these bells and whistles that have been added to this platform. Really any truck. It's not just a Raptor, of course, but we see it here right in plain sight. Examples like this, lane keep assist, just more things that can ultimately fail or break on the vehicle over time. I could do without it. Personally, I could have done without the pano sunroof. This is just how this 37 Performance package was spec'd. This is an optional addition for $1,500, as you saw on the window sticker there. I think I would have preferred it without it, because so many of these are being plagued with the leaking issue. A lot of folks are going through car washes, or when it rains heavily, they are leaking out of their speakers here, which is just appalling to even think about on a $95,000 truck that is allowable by Ford. This has been an ongoing issue for several years now, and Ford just hasn't seemed to have figured it out. So that is something that kind of spooks me a little bit as we teeter deeper into my ownership experience. Another gripe that I have, not just so much for the Raptor here, but for all vehicles today, unfortunately everything has just gotten wildly overpriced for what you get. Unfortunately, right? This is a $95,000 truck. I do firmly believe that it's a very well-priced vehicle in the mid-70s, but not so much $95,000. You guys know I spent just over 88 grand for it right at invoice, and that is still arguably a little too much. I hate the fact that this is our new reality. Even a common F-150 XLT is going to cost you over $60,000 easily nowadays, and that is just a shame, right? So the price tag is jumped up $20,000 since I bought my 2019 Ford Raptor back in the day that was spec'd to the gills, full of technology, completely filled with all of the additions to it, and that was 74 grand. This one here, $20,000 up. Obviously, as I was talking through those dislikes there, I'm splitting hairs. I love this truck. This really is, in my opinion, the superior truck to buy. This is a ton of fun to drive. There's nothing that feels like this. The acceleration is phenomenal. It absorbs everything with this excellent suspension. This is just a fun truck in every regard. It looks incredible, the aggressive styling. I don't know, life's too short to drive boring cars and boring trucks. And for me, the Raptor here scratches the itch. Although they cost a ton of money, one major like that I have of the Raptor platform in general is their residual values have proven itself to be phenomenal. Much better than most vehicles on the road. That Tundra TRD Pro that I had with the V8 in 2021, my Lunar Rock one, that is probably the only truck that I would say is better than the Raptor when it comes to residual value and sustaining great trade and resale value. The Raptors have proven itself. I've lost very little money in my ownership experiences of several Raptors over the years. So that is a big piece of the equation as to why I decided to buy another. And you guys know me, I have dabbled with the idea of buying a Ram TRX a number of times. They're bringing it back here in 2026 with the new TRXs hitting dealership lots, probably January timeframe of 2026. So I could have easily held off for just maybe a few more months and gotten the supercharged V8 TRX. You know, the whole quality control issues that come from Stellantis products at large is a big deterrent for me. However, I'm sure I would absolutely love that platform too, let's be honest. So tell me the truth, should I have just waited it out and tried the TRX instead? Or was the Raptor here a good choice? I'll wrap up the video there, guys. As always, I sincerely appreciate you taking the time to tune into these videos. If you appreciate this type of content, that's a little bit more of an ownership review, modification update type of content, please let me know, guys. Yeah, I'm only providing this because I know some of you like seeing it, and some of you will complain if I don't upload it for a while, and I do enjoy taking it. I do enjoy putting these videos together for you, and I need to do a little bit better at it. So let me know what your thoughts are. I do have one more mod coming. One more modification plan for the Raptor here, a modification that I've never done to any of my vehicles, any of my trucks ever, and I'm actually pretty excited to see how it turns out. So if you'd like to see that, please stay tuned. Please subscribe if you haven't. It'll be coming here probably next week or so. So more to follow. Thanks for watching. Till next time.